All right, our guy, Cole Cubelic, he was down in Baton Rouge a couple of weeks back handing out the Joe Moore Offensive Line Award, which some film caught his speech to the group as he was handing away the award. And talk about get chills. Did you see that?
Yeah.
With Cole, it was great. And also a part of the SEC Network. I think we're diving into a little bit of his vacation time this morning.
My man.
So we are grateful as usual.
And
Edward Jones, Tex Morris, our guy over there on Jefferson Highway. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. Not really vacation. It's kind of a travel day, so I don't know if I'd call that vacation day, but definitely got to be home for a couple hours this morning with the kiddos, so that was fun.
Well, it's great to have you, as usual. And last week you were in town handing out the maybe the greatest trophy in sports.
Yes, definitely visually.
I mean, first off, how do you transport that trophy? How do you move that thing around? Because it's like a grand piano. Talking about the Joe Moore Offensive Line Award, which LSU was handed away last week. You and Aaron Hernandez were down here. Or excuse me.
Oh,
sorry.
whoa, bro! You can't be throwing Cole in. He was not hanging out with Aaron Hernandez.
Good
Come on.
Lord, Aaron Taylor. Sorry about that. So how do you move that thing around?
I understand the documentary's coming out on Netflix next month, but that would be the biggest news of 2019 and 2020 if I was hanging out with Aaron Hernandez in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
That'd have been big. How do you move the trophy?
Oh, third time. We tried.
There is we have a custom crate that we can kind of break down and we can pull apart and then put it back together because that trophy that you guys are referencing, that trophy actually rotates. Now, LSU will get a replica of that trophy that they will keep, but that trophy actually moves every year. So the winner will have it for a full calendar year, and then that trophy will go to the next winner. So it came from Norman, Oklahoma, where the Sooners had it last year. It'll be there in Baton Rouge for the next year. And then, obviously, if LSU doesn't win it again next year, we'll take it to the next winner, and then they'll have a replica of what's just on top of that trophy. But it's over 800 pounds. It's a very cool trophy. I think Aaron Taylor did it the right way when he started the Joe Moore Award. He wanted to make it the biggest trophy in sports. And I think when you're talking about not just an O-line trophy, but a trophy that is the only award that goes to a position group in college football, really in sports, I think he had to come up with something magnificent, and he did.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything more indicative of O-line than that being a group award. Nameless, faceless, the guys up front. Now, I want to talk about the guys up front. Cole, I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked our boss, Gordy Rush, last segment, which is when you look at this Oklahoma team, right, they are a master of this kind of counter rushing attack. In fact, they're a master of spreading you out to run the ball, at least this year. What do you think the key to containing Lincoln Riley's offense is?
Well, I think obviously you have to close down that space that you brought up, and it's accurate. They're going to go 3, 4, 5 wide, and they're going to run a lot of G-scheme stuff where they're blocking back and pulling guys around, whether it's counter, power, whether it's stretch pull, different types of plays that they have. And I think the first thing you have to do is you have to meet those pullers at the point of attack. You have to arrive early and force those runs to either bounce outside, and then you can allow help to come up and make tackles, or you have to force them to cut back inside earlier than they're desired to. I think the advantage for LSU against that particular scheme are hybrid defenders, guys who can do different things. And because then you have different players who can either play close to the line of scrimmage and have the speed to attack the perimeter, or maybe are a little bit bigger and stronger but can also run and can do things inside and take on guys closer to the football. And I think guys like Jacoby Stevens, Grant Delpit, Caleb on Chaisson, guys who can line up and be a hybrid safety linebacker, who can be a linebacker defensive end type, guys who can do different things, because then I think, and you know this, T-Bob, that begins to screw with your assignments a little bit.
It's hard,
you go out to pull,
to see,
you're looking for a defensive end, and all of a sudden you get a 250-pounder who can run a 4.5, or you get a guy that looks like a safety, but he can come up and hit you like a linebacker. That changes the dynamics a little bit. I think the most important part, and we saw a little bit of this against Georgia, are those 3 down linemen, whether it's Shelvin or Ika inside, whether it's Bahoko or Lawrence or Logan. if those guys play the way they did against Georgia, then it's going to make life a lot easier on Delpit and Patrick Queen and Stevens and Chaisson, the guys who need to run down those plays if they do bounce outside or when they cut back inside. And that's where the speed part of those hybrid defenders, I think, is going to help LSU. But the reason I think they'll ultimately have success is those big guys up front. They have been playing remarkable football, and they're all back and finally healthy, and I think that'll be the difference.
Yeah, for the first time in years, LSU truly has a 3-4 nose, and Tyler Shelvin and Ika, and you're seeing him pay dividends. Cole, talking to Cole Cubelic, SEC Network, you know him, you love him, the best at breaking it all down, at Cole Cubelic on Twitter. Flip over to the opposite side of the ball. How does Oklahoma try to answer the impossible question that everybody's tried to answer, which is like, how do you contain Joe Burrow?
Oh, if it's me, I sort of take the Auburn approach, and I play at bare minimum 2 deep safeties, probably play mostly 3 deep safeties, and I try to make them work, and I try to make sure that when a ball's caught underneath, we have to get that receiver on the ground quickly, make that an emphasis. And then I'm just not giving up explosive plays over the top, T-Bob.
Yeah.
And I think it's the only hope that you have. And then I think Kevin Steele's plan was brilliant in that he knew that they were going to have to, number one, clamp down in the red zone. Yep. And he knew they were going to have to win some one-on-ones up front. Now, obviously, that Auburn D-line is a little bit different than the Oklahoma D-line, especially without Ronnie Perkins in the lineup. So I don't know who's going to win those one-on-ones consistently for Oklahoma, especially when you throw in a guy like Moss who's going to be helping that Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. And even if you make Joe Burrow do things underneath, I tell people sometimes that one of the more impressive games that Joe Burrow has had, in my opinion, was that Auburn game because he never got greedy. Yep. He sat back and said, okay, if I have to put together 8, 10, 12-play drives, we'll just take what you're giving them.
Yeah.
And most quarterbacks can't do that. Most quarterbacks, if they're used to completing balls up top, if they're used to completing balls deep down the middle of the field, they want to continue to throw those, and they want to continue to hammer those. And it felt like in that game, Joe Burrow sat back and said, you want me to chip away? I'll chip away. No problem. And he did it. And so I think, but to me, you at least have to make that offense work. Same thing with defending the Alabama offense this year. I think when you give up those explosive plays and you give up those 2- and 3-play scoring drives, not only is it defeating to your defense, but then your offense is all of a sudden they get down more quickly. You know, the time of possession isn't something that you're able to win. I just think it deflates your entire team. So for me, you got to try to find a way to win with 3 and 4 up front. Don't give up the explosive plays up top, and really and truly just hope for a mistake or two. I mean, that's the difference. I think the most important part that Lincoln Riley can do to LSU's offense is to go. Everybody keeps talking about this ball control, and they can keep it away and they can play keep away. I think the exact opposite. If I'm Lincoln Riley, I'm going complete Indy 500, NASCAR, Talladega, as fast as humanly possible, foot on the floor. I'm trying to score as fast as possible every time. So I at least keep that pressure on the LSU offense where they can't sit back and get comfortable at times and just either hand the football off or try to take those dink and dunks underneath. At least make Joe Burrow feel like he has to try to do more things to create explosive plays. And then I'm not sure that even works. Like, I'm on record saying that I think this is going to be a pretty significant margin of victory for LSU.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to develop this plan for Oklahoma to really have a ton of sustained success.
Safe travels, my friend. Good to talk to you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Look forward to catching up soon. Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.
All right,
there he is. Cole Cubelic checking in from the SEC Network. We'll close out our coverage next year on Off the Bench.